just had a whole carton right here. Where is it? Don't tell me it's gone. Where is the milk?
They call me a soft creator, not Mike Almond.
Dick, move!
Hey, Krypton breakfast time. Look at this stack. It's bigger than the Fortress Crystal.
This is lace is frayed, apples raw.
I don't know what we do about this, but this is Sora 2. What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and today we are taking a look at Sora 2. This is OpenAI's latest entry into the world of video AI generation, and they did it in a very unique and kind of weird way, something we haven't seen AI do yet, and there's a lot of implications for it. Now, personally, as a filmmaker, I think it is my responsibility, it is my job to always stay on the top news when it comes to things that affect our industry, whether that's new gear that's coming out, things that are happening in the industry at large, whether that's how theaters or streaming is playing a role into the movies that are made. And as somebody who has aspirations to see one of my own films in a theater, AI has had probably the biggest emotional impact in my journey, in the fact of I don't know how it's going to affect what we do going forward. And I also don't know if the dream that I have been aspiring for will even still exist by the time I'm there to get it. I actually went ahead and decided I was going to just try out Sora 2 for myself. I wanted to see what it was all about. Try it out, see how good it is, and instantly I was surprised because Sora 2 is actually two different things. If you're not careful, you will totally miss it. But Sora 2 is a AI video generator, which I think deserves its own level of critique. But then Sora 2 is also, in my opinion, a social experiment. It is a new social media app, and everything on that app is created using the Sora 2 generative model. And when you interact with the app, you have a totally different experience. Now, like most creators, when I got access to Sora 2, the first thing I went in is I just started generating stuff. I started prompting. But what I found was actually by giving Sora 2 minimal prompts, I was actually able to get better results. Now, granted, I had no idea what those results were gonna be, but the overall AI performance was actually better because it didn't have to be as detailed, or it could only be as detailed as it needed to be in order to produce a really good video. Now, another new thing when it came to Sora 2 is the ability to work with cameos. So with cameos, you literally just scan your face or record a quick little video, and it asks you to say 3 numbers. Now, I think it's really interesting that they only need 3 numbers, and I'm not really sure what this number does as far as like it being able to understand your voice, but I will say, its ability to create cameos and to create videos with your likeness in it is the best I have ever seen from any AI tool. I mean, Midjourney has something that's pretty similar when it comes to images, and then you can try to animate those images. But when it comes to something that literally just takes a few seconds to get a video of you and record 3 numbers spoken, and then to be able to create actual video edits with that, it is kind of crazy, and it's a super surreal thing to experience for the very first time, to see you in something that you know you had no part of. Now, in the art of actually reviewing this, I will say the audio is awful. The audio almost is never really well done, and so I do see in the future that cameos will probably require a bit more data from you as far as like, you know, maybe seeing more of your face or having you actually read off like probably a short paragraph to really nail your voice, because the audio is what gives this thing away in a moment. But here's the sort of weird take on that, is that the audio is only off to people who actually know what you sound like. And if you create content on the internet, the majority of people have never actually seen you in person. Like, most people only know you through the content that you produce. And so if I'm watching a video of somebody and I hear a voice, I have no reason to believe that that voice isn't theirs or that the voice sounds off. So for the general public, they will probably accept the audio as if that's what you actually sound like. Now, one last thing I do want to mention when it comes to this generative tool is that you don't have to just make videos with yourself in it, and you don't actually have to publish any of these videos. Now, what I like about the app is that it allows you to create videos and basically save them into your drafts. You can then download those videos onto your phone. They will have a Sora app, very similar to like the TikTok app, how it kind of bounces around the screen. You basically get something very similar with your downloaded content. But when it comes to interacting with those videos, it's very limited. You either have the option to upload the videos directly to your Sora page, or you can download it with the watermark if you want to upload it to another social media platform. The other thing is that when it comes to the cameos, it is nice that you can make cameos with other people, but that is a privacy setting. You do have to open yourself up to be able to have people use your likeness in their content as well. And this is one of the things as we start migrating over to the app a little bit, how this thing kind of is working as a social experiment. I've seen a lot of people get onto Sora 2 and start creating content, but I have noticed that not a lot of people make themselves available to be able to be used in their likeness when it comes to making content. Myself included. Like when I signed up, I did not allow myself to be publicly used for content creation because you can't control what the other person actually ends up prompting. And I think this is very interesting and kind of telling as to where we are as a society when it comes to AI. I think a lot of us are okay with utilizing AI and implementing it into our workflows to make things run a little bit smoother. But with Sora 2 and it having a easy ability to dang near clone your likeness and be able to use that in content, people are not accepting that quite as rapidly as they are just playing around with the tool. And so I do find this as an interesting nugget in this social experiment that is this social media app. Speaking of which, this thing is sort of built like a social media app. I mean, when you download it onto your phone and you get access to a code, you immediately are dropped into a feed, very similar to TikTok or Instagram Reels. You can swipe through content that's been created by other people, but here's the crazy part. Everything that is on this app is created using Sora 2. So there have been times where I come across a video that looks like a UGC video, a vlog style video, and I have to remind myself that I am looking at something that was generated with AI. It wasn't created with AI enhancements. It is fully AI, and that is crazy. Now, there's obviously certain videos that give it away. Things where people are doing stuff that they never could do. Be Superman, be skydiving, things like that. But when it comes to this app and seeing all this AI content, it's kind of weird to take yourself on that journey because you have to constantly be reminding yourself that everything I am seeing is generated in AI, not enhanced, fully generated. Now, aside from the content, I will say that the app currently is a little buggy. I find that sometimes my screen just goes straight black. I've also run into situations where I prompted something and then I didn't see that it was creating, and so then I re-prompted it, and then when the first one finishes, then another one's finished right afterwards. So I'm like, oh, I guess it did actually go through. So there have been some buggy issues in that situation. Another thing is that this app is trying to be solely self-contained and does not want you to be able to download content from other creators. You cannot download anything on here. The only way to share things is via the link that will take them directly to Sora's platform in order to actually consume the content. But you can download your own videos. And if you're trying to be smart and do like a screen recording or even like connect your phone to an app to be able to record the image off of the phone, that's not gonna work. The only option you really have is to sort of just point a camera at your phone and then record. But again, you're still within the Sora ecosystem. And another thing that I do like about the app is that it does not work on a credit-based system. You almost can just keep prompting. However, I had prompted quite a few videos in a fairly short amount of time, just sort of playing with the app as most of us do, and I got quite a few different warnings. First, I got content guideline warnings. Warnings that would tell me that what they were trying to prompt for me was pretty much going against their guidelines. However, I would see somebody else with a video that was clearly against the guidelines as well, doing the exact same thing. In fact, I saw one person make a video with Pokemon characters. I tried to make the exact same video, and I got hit with a guideline bust, but that video's on the platform. Not really sure how that whole thing works out. The other thing that I noticed when it comes to this is that if you make a lot of videos really quickly, they will give you a pop-up that basically says you've made over 30 videos in the last 24 hours, take a break. Now, I got this message twice, and the first time it happened was after a lot of videos, so I waited. The next morning, I started trying to make videos again, And I basically was given the same warning after making just one video. So the way I currently feel like this works is that you get 30 videos and they sort of roll off in real time. Obviously, this is probably to help protect the servers, but just be aware of that when you go into it. Don't be afraid to play, but just know that you can't just make an infinite amount of videos, and you can't even buy more credits if you want to. Now, as a filmmaker, I gotta say, Sora 2 feels a lot like when Google VO3 first came out. I was one of the first people who got my hands on it and immediately started prompting it and seeing what it could do. And the outcomes are crazy. I mean, in a world where making films used to be super expensive and you needed actors and all this stuff, like the idea of being able to just prompt what you want and have it spit out something, I think is a crazy time to live in, especially if you're someone who has a story you feel like you just absolutely have to tell. The tools to be able to get that story out are out there, and they're really not that expensive. That said, I gotta be honest, as I'm scrolling through all the content on Sora 2's site, it feels soulless. I mean, if you look at it, there's a few posts that have sort of gone viral, I guess, on the platform. A lot of them involving iJustine and Sam Altman, I think his name is. And, you know, a lot of those posts will have a lot of likes, I guess. I mean, I think the most likes I've ever seen inside of the Sora app is like maybe a few thousand. So I would classify that as viral in an app with so few users at this point. But as you're scrolling, there's nothing inherently inspiring. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, when you see somebody doing something amazing, whether they're, you know, in a movie, or they are just vlogging, or they're on vacation, or, you know, they're just doing really anything, because you know it was all prompted, you know this was not a true human experience, you lose the dopamine hit I think that sometimes you get when you are a creator and you scroll through Instagram and you see somebody out there living their life. And while, yes, we know that Instagram and social media is a highlight reel, there's also a slight little hit of like, look at that person enjoying their life. And it almost inspires you to go out and enjoy your life as well. That doesn't happen on the Sora 2 app. The most you're gonna get is, oh, that was a cool idea. I would like a video like that. And then you literally can go down and either remix their video, or you can actually just prompt your own video. And then once the video's out, it's like, oh, I didn't actually have that experience, and I didn't actually do these things, and I didn't actually really create anything either. So there's no dopamine hit. And I think that's where this soulless feel from scrolling through the app kind of is. At least, and I'm gonna say this with older generation AI, and I don't know how the future is gonna shake out, but with older generation AI, it was awful. Like, it was terrible. But there were people who were innovators and people who were using the tools and mixing different tools together, and then using their storytelling and their cinematic backgrounds and all these things to create something that I think you can make something meaningful with AI. I do believe that. But with Sora 2, because you're literally just creating vertical videos to go into this slot machine that is a new social media app, there is a lack of that feeling. And it doesn't feel like anything is really earned on the app. So you scroll for a little bit, you make a few clips, and then you probably go on about your life, going back to the apps that you used to use, like TikTok or Instagram. So as a filmmaker, I don't necessarily see this as an attack per se on the filmmaking industry. In fact, I think while yes, Sora 2 as a generative model will probably get worked into a lot of filmmaking workflows, just like, you know, VO3 has, or Higgsfield, or any of these other ones, Midjourney, whatever. I can see the model getting worked in. I don't necessarily see the app being effective. And even as people are able to create this AI, I mean, a lot of people want to call it AI slop, but as people are creating just this like onslaught of AI content, just like how we went through when VO3 first came out, and there was like two really big trends. We got the gorilla trend, where everybody had a talking gorilla vlogging to camera, and then we also got the ASMR audio cutting of fruit or whatever videos that all went viral. I think there will be those moments. There'll be moments where something catches wind and a lot of people can generate it really fast and get on board with the trend. And I think that will work for a short period of time, but I still believe that artistry is going to be a necessity. Because just like with most trends, the first 2 or 3 times you see it, it might be interesting, but after the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 20th time, you're just scrolling past the trend. And that's what I think AI slop is gonna do. It might create a few trends, but they're gonna be washed out even faster than trends of the past were. But people who make meaningful art and utilize these AI tools to say something, to have a meaning, to have a story, to have something to actually share with the world, because we've all seen it where, you know, you have a movie that has spent, you know, millions and millions of dollars and it has nothing to say, and therefore it's not a great movie. And I don't think AI would have helped that movie be any better. On the flip side of that, we've also seen movies made on shoestring budgets and they have something to say, and those movies are amazing and they have impact. So while yes, AI will inevitably affect our future as filmmakers, as content creators, as videographers, I think it will still always go back to, do you have something to say? And do the tools help you say that thing more effectively, more efficiently? And I'm excited for that side of the future. Where yes, we're gonna have to comb through the slop, but we've always had to do that. When TV burst onto the scene, cable burst onto the scene, there was so many crappy TV shows and crappy made for television movies. But there were still shows like Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, that was able to cut through the noise that was television and give us stuff that we still quote to this very day. So that's been my thoughts on Sora 2. If you guys have any questions, leave those down below in the comment section. We are in it, and I can't wait to see what this future looks like. It's definitely gonna be crazy.